What's up, traders? It's your boy Vincent, aka Vin Boss. Welcome back to the Vin Boss Signal Factory, where real traders grow real accounts. Here at Vin Boss Traders, we are building a community of traders, of real traders, people who trade smart, stay disciplined, and grow real accounts with real strategies. Now, before I get to anything, I would like to tell you that I've been trading the markets for years now, studying price action, understanding structure, and helping traders master consistency. Everything I share here comes straight from real market experience, not just theory. All right, let's jump straight into the 6 YouTube watch list. Starting off this week, we have added DXY to our analysis of the free 6 YouTube watch list. So with that being said, traders, remember this was the signal on Monday. So this is what we are still currently dealing with going into the end of the week. But before we get into the charts, traders, let's get straight into what to expect today fundamentally. So with that being said, beautiful traders, we are having what we've never been had for, or what we've never had for a long period of time, which is the non-farm payrolls. And with the non-farm payrolls, traders, excuse me, what we have is a forecast that is bigger than the previous consensus, the previous data, which the consensus or the forecast is 53k, but previously it was sitting at 22k. This is what I hope to see. I hope to see the market beat the expectation of 53k to maybe 54 or even 60k. This would probably boost the dollar to the highest of the strength going into the later years, the later ends of this years, because we have now November on our calendar, and 2 weeks after here it will be December, the last non-farm payrolls of the year. So this is just fantastic for all traders. And another thing to look at for today is the unemployment rate, which is just expected to stay the same from the previous release, which was 4.3. It is expected to be 4.3. So for me, in my experience, or not experience for that matter, but in what I would like to see, in my hopes and dreams, I would like to see the unemployment decrease on the US dollar. This would support the dollar, maybe to 4.2% or even 4.1%. It will beat the market expectations dramatically, and this would, of course, allow us to go back to winning and the dollar being strong. And when the dollar is strong, everybody wins, because most of our traders, their accounts are open in dollars. So, beautiful traders, without wasting further time, let's go straight to the charts and see what we are going to have in store today. Now, without wasting further time, remember this was before the market had opened. We did have this kind of signal indicating that some sellers will be here, but we would not be here. I did emphasize this because this was bearish, but only on a short structure or on a short term outlook. But on the longer time frame or on the long term time frame, this was what I expected to see, and the market played out exactly as I did expect it to play. Now, if you did not watch this weekly forex forecast as it was introduced to YouTube right here, this was the signal. Of course, we did mention that if we do break below what we call the new low, then we would wait for a pullback to continue selling, because right now we were only biased to the upside, and the market has done exactly that. And this is the results that we do have going into today's markets, of course. And this is the DXY signal that was given. This is the result, of course. And with that being said, beautiful traders, we do have a testimony today. Somebody funded $20, of course, again, which signifies the fact that the 200 seats that were introduced just by funding $20 are now getting shorter. It's time for you to get you sit in that 200 available spot for you to join and become something or make something of yourself and your trading career. So without wasting further time, traders, let's get into this. Let me firstly make you guys understand and see that this coming from me, this is still what I'm supposed to see take profit around this. This is take profit around this target zone at 100.34. This is the target profit where we will be taking profit, of course. And with that being said, beautiful traders, what I'm going to show you has already been done on the DXY and other currency pairs. But this also is the long term. This right here is the long term, or rather, let me use a tool or a go charting tool. This right here is a long term, what I call a long term target profit. This is where I'm expecting to see the target at 101.306. This is the target. This is where I want to see the market just flowing from the bottom here, going up and taking profit to this level. So if you were not in or you missed some of this, remember traders, it is very simple for you to join this Vinboss Signal Factory Real Account Traders Community. All that you have to do is register your account just like the previous trader that I just showed you, and fund. All you have to do is register your account under the exclusive XNS link. We do not have our common links because we cannot track or see your progress or even fund you or help you. We do help other traders fund just in case they do not follow the rules, to show them the love in the community and the trust that we are building within our community. So after funding and after registering and verifying your account details, fund the minimum of $20. Remember, the 200 seats that are left are for people who are going to fund $20 or more. But starting from January 2026, we will go back to the minimum funding of $100. It will no longer be $20. People will have to start funding $100 to join the real account traders community. So back to the charts, traders. This is still what I do expect and what I want to see. So with that being said, beautiful traders, let's just go to the euro and the dollar to see what the euro and the dollar has in store for us, and make sure that we do keep up with the momentum. So traders, with the euro and the dollar very similar to the DXY, we did project that this was still going to be a downward trend to the downside. Now, with that being said, beautiful traders, the only thing that has to come to your mind is what makes this guy sell, whereas this is a bullish market, right? I did mention, please, if you missed the weekly Forex forecast, go and watch the weekly Forex forecast. It is important that you understand how the weekly Forex forecast plays out into the interdays of the week. Now, with that being said, I did mention this 1.1625 as the daily supply zone or the daily liquidity zone for sellers in the longer time frame. But if you were looking for buying opportunities, I did not prevent you or tell you that it was definitely going to go down, but I did give you the option of, if you were going to buy this, wait for it to break above here and then look for buying opportunities and then a continuation to the upside. This is what I did recommend to everyone else who was watching the weekly Forex forecast. Now, without wasting much time, now that we are here and there is the NFP coming out today, what I do expect to see is maybe a bit of a pullback around this level, and then when the NFP comes out, continuation to the downside to take out structure right here at the take profit is at 1.1455. This is the take profit one 0.1455, and the risk to reward ratio setup equals to 1:9.40. This is the risk to reward ratio that we are currently going to take profit at. Whether it is this week or the coming week, it is still the same. And with that being said, NFP traders, it can also go above to retest the same entry level before continuation to the downside. But overall, what we do have is the bias to the downside. Already we have breaking even on this trade, of course, as you have seen right here on the signal that is taken by someone who just funded this week. Someone who just funded this week has taken this signal, funded $20, and they started making money. What are you waiting for? Change your life and stop procrastinating. Make sure that you click that link, you register your account, you verify your trading documents, and then you fund the minimum of $20. Fund now while the minimum is still $20, because next year no one is going to be funding or joining the real account traders community with only $20 in their account. It will be the minimum for you to join that group. It will be $100. It will be $100. So without wasting further time, let's go back to the charts and show you this is what I do expect, or what I want to see going into the end of this week. So if the NFP comes out stronger than expected, of course, this might also become the situation where we do take profit and then expect a small pullback. But for now, what we can see is there is no longer buying power because of the signal that we shared right here on the weekly Forex forecast. Now, traders, this is the pound, this is the euro and the dollar. Let's go straight over to the pound now and the US dollar to see what it does have in store for us. And with the pound and the dollar, traders, I would like to mention that it's very closely correlated with the euro and the dollar. So it is inversely correlated with the DXY. Thus, if we are buying the DXY like we are now, the dollar index, we are now selling the pound and the dollar, and we are also selling the euro and the dollar. But if we are selling the DXY, the dollar index for that matter, we will be buying the pound and the dollar, and we will be also buying the euro and the dollar. I hope that makes sense. If you didn't know, you should register and fund, because you're not only going to get trading signals, you also get a trading course and real strategies that work in real-time markets. So with that being said, traders, what we are now expecting, as you can see that the first time, or rather the last time we did take a trade, it went straight in our favor. What we should expect from now is a small pullback to retest last week's weekly break of structure. This is where I expect to see selling pressure, or to even be able to talk about selling pressure right on the time of the non-farm payroll. This is a pullback that is expected, and right on the non-farm payroll, because as we have seen in the forecast, it is expected to be stronger than the 22K. The expectation is 53K, which I think, given the fact that we are from a government shutdown, this is an underestimation. It might be 55K or something stronger than what we are now dealing with currently in the market, which is 53K consensus. So with that being said, beautiful traders, I think right after this we'll be getting bearish patterns and formations from here, and then a continuation to the downside to make this, after we've reached this level, this would be the daily low, and this would be the high of a new trend. So with that being said, where will our take profit be? Let me just make sure that I clarify that this is the take profit that I personally have set on the pound and the dollar. Why? Because of the weakness in the pound in relation to other currencies. The pound is the weakest. We always deal with the strong versus the weakest currency pairs in our real account traders community. And with that being said, pound came out as one of the weakest technically and according to the data. So the take profit is 1.2754. This is the take profit where it is set, of course. And to give you guys a clear indication of what I am talking about, this is the signal that was already taken on the pound and the dollar. This is a person who funded $20, just to clarify and remind you that it is important for you to fund $20 so that you get signals like this. We can post your screenshot too when you are winning with us. So I did mention, of course, what it takes for you to be part of the real account traders community. All it takes is for you to register under the exclusive link, which will also be left under the video description, of course. And after you've registered your account, you verify your account details, and then after verifying your account details, the most important thing that you have to do is fund the minimum of $20. This offer starts from now. It ends up until December, the middle of December. We will not be trading from the 15th of December or the second part of, we only going to trade 2 of the first week of December, and then the third part of December, or the third week of December and the fourth week of December, we will not be in the market or interested in any type of trading, as there will be low volatility in the markets. Big banks will not be there. There are a lot of fake outs there. We will not be dealing with that. So it is only valid up until the week of the 15th of December, and that will be it. And we will start again in January. And after January, traders, beautiful things will happen. We will be back, but we will not be back with $20 markup price. We will only be back with $100 markup price. Now back to the charts. What I do expect to see a continuation to the downside to take out profit right here at the level that I explained to you. And if we do get a deeper pullback, this might be the case, but we are still bearish to the downside to take out profit right at this level. Now this is the pound and the dollar for us traders. Let's go straight to the euro and the Canadian dollar. And traders, with the euro and the Canadian dollar, very simply put, in the beginning of the week we were expecting a bearish momentum, of course. And I remember we did enter here expecting continuation to the downside, but what did happen was we got invalidated as this came out and came to retest this break of structure. And then after the break of structure, of course, the continuation started and we saw bearish patterns and formations right here, and then we did take the signal, and of course this is still within these margins. Now someone would ask me, how or where did I place my stop loss? This is a long-term trade. This is a swing trade rather than, but for those of you, remember, let's look at the signal first. This is the signal. The signal, the target profit of the signal was also based on 1.6192, which is the break of structure on the weekly time frame, which defines that right now, if you have put your take profit right at the weekly break of structure right here, this means that you would have taken profit and you are done with this trade. You are waiting for next week. Now, given the fact that we do have what we call the non-farm payroll coming out today, I expect to see volatility, maybe one last pullback, and then a continuation to the downside again to take profit right here at, let me zoom out and see where the profit is at so that I can give you the exact target profit right here. This is 1.6112. This is 1.6012. This is 1.6012. This is the target profit. And the whole setup, or the risk to reward ratio signal that we do have right here, is 1:18.3. Now it becomes a game of patience, because this take profit cannot be reached right on this week. It can be reached next week, which is what I would like to see happening in the market. Then after taking profit, a pullback will come, and after that pullback, we will also be anticipating a pullback, and it will be deeply analyzed with the real account traders community, this type of setups and signals. So already I do know where to expect a pullback or how to handle reversals on this market structure, because already, given the fact I did mention, if you were not watching the weekly forex forecast, I feel sorry for you, because this is where I did mention that traders better watch out for this fake inverse head and shoulders that they are expecting to go up until these levels. But for me, this is where I'll be looking to sell and continue to the downside. This is exactly what I did mention, and since this is exactly what did happen, this means that all that this is was a fake, and someone else might have got it here expecting, a continuation to the upside. And I did mention the only time that I personally would be buying this is if we break above, come back, and then look for buying opportunities around here, and then a continuation to the upside. Because of what, I am bearish on the euro. There has to be a strong catalyst for me to believe that the euro is stronger. And I know some of the news that some of the news outlets out there were saying that the euro is strong without a reason, and I did not see the strength of what they were talking about technically, because I was just bearish on the euro overall. Despite this happening, I was just bearish on the overall direction of the euro, and even on the Canadian dollar, it has turned out to be bearish as it is. And there is another signal that was sent to me, the results. Of course, this is the results on the euro and the Canadian dollar. This is the signal, of course. And with that being said, this is what traders should be out there looking for. This is exactly what traders should be out there looking for and expecting whilst they are trading this. Of course, on the weekly forex forecast, we are going to analyze this. And because some of you traders have not yet joined this real account traders community, you are missing out on live analysis or live trading on the NFP today. But I know some of you will take the chance and come into the market, of course, and make sure that you do not miss any of this live analysis. Given the fact that this is only the non-farm payroll, next week we might be having the CPI, and the market might move again in the direction of the dollar or in opposition of that. But the structure of the market will tell us what to expect and how to expect it, or how to receive the market's movement, depending on whether it's going to be a deeper buy on the DXY or it's just a shallow one. So with that being said, you need to be in the real account traders community to get deeper and detailed analysis of this and deeper understanding of the market structure. So traders, this is the euro and the Canadian dollar for me. Let's go straight over to the pound and the Canadian dollar. Traders, this is the pound and the Canadian dollar. And with the pound and the Canadian dollar, very simply put, what we do have, or what we did have, is we did not trade this. Remember, everything that I'm saying here, you must pay close attention to, especially on the weekly forex forecast. Why? Because there are things that I did mention on the weekly forex forecast that for me, this is not pullback enough, right? I did mention that for me, this is not pullback enough. It did not reach the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement. And with that being said, we have to zoom out. Now, why I would like to sell this now or today, the thing is, today we do, look at this, pay close attention to this. We have this, even though it did not reach the 38.2 from the levels above, we do have this selling pressure coming in, and then the buyers came in, but the selling pressure came out to even invalidate the weekly break of structure, which now confirms what the selling structure. Now from the NFP, or anytime we do get the bearish patterns and formations from this level, of course we are going to take it. Now what do I expect to see from these levels? I do expect to see maybe bearish patterns and formations from this level, or right here on the previous demand zone, or the previous weekly demand zone, which might turn now to the supply, and look for bearish patterns and formations, and then a continuation to the downside. This is the only time that we will be taking selling opportunities. Just imagine if you were someone else, you would have forced this, and this might have came out. But following principles of the markets, following your strategy, following your beliefs on the market, and staying disciplined not to break your rules, saves you from a lot of losses or unnecessary losses. So with that being said, this also might also come and do bearish patterns and formations from this. This might also look nice for us to take, because this pair itself, it is not 100% influenced by the non-farm payrolls. It will only be influenced by the non-farm payrolls amid the weakness that comes out on the euro and the pound during the non-farm payrolls. And right now, as we can closely see, this looks like we are, after retesting this moving average, we are now making selling opportunities. Remember, the market has just opened right now. The London session has just opened right now. It's 8 minutes into the London session, and this looks like a beautiful setup to the downside. So you might take that, of course, to the downside with, of course, perfect risk management. And if you do not have risk management, you need to register and fund, because we do cover a lot of stuff like risk management on how to take these signals and how to make sure that you are losing but staying confident above everything else. So traders, with that being said, this is a setup that the euro and the pound and the Canadian dollar have. I'm trying not to waste too much time explaining deeper, but let's go straight to the euro and the pound. And traders, with the pound and the euro, or rather the euro and the pound, what we do have is bias to the upside, of course, to take out structure right here or above the mentioned target, which we'll get into later on this analysis of the euro and the pound. What we do see right now happening is that we are at the demand zone, of course, and the market keeps testing this demand zone. It wants to go to the upside, and after we go to the upside, we are not looking for any selling opportunities into this market. I would like to make that very clear. We are only looking for buying opportunities, bullish patterns and formations around this area to go to the upside, similar to this one. Even though we did not take them here, we missed a chance to go to the upside. But missing a chance doesn't mean anything if you are a disciplined trader. You know things like this do happen, and they do come back to us, just like this pullback did come to us again, giving us a chance to look for buying opportunities and go to the upside again. So traders, with that being said, on the euro and the pound currency pair, let's go deeper and see what this has in store for us. Now, this is how it aligns for me. Still looking for bullish patterns and formations around this level, or we can even go deeper than that. But at the end of the day, this is where I would like to see us take profit at, right at 0.8888. This is where I will be taking profit at 0.8888. This is where the number of take profit, or the price of take profit, is at. And with that being said, beautiful traders, again, what we have to make sure that we do not miss or jump in, we have to confirm buying opportunities before just jumping in just because this is a demand zone. This still has a possibility of breaking to the downside and breaking the weekly break of structure. And as we all know, or if you have been with us for a long time, you know that after breaking the weekly break of structure, what we do expect is a pullback, either to retest the weekly break of structure or go back in line deeper to retest what we do have as the supply zone, and a continuation to the downside is imminent or will unfold in the following or the upcoming week. So traders, with that being said, this is the euro and the pound. I'm trying to finish this video as fast as possible because I realize now that I've taken too much time. And after that, we are going to the last but not the least currency pair, which is the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. So let's go and check what it has in store for us. And traders, this is the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. And right before we do understand or analyze what we do have here right now, we should get straight to remember what the signal looked like. This is the weekly Forex forecast signal that we did have. We were still structured to the upside, and I did mention that no matter what we were facing during last week, this week I'm still bullish to the upside with the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. Now let's go to the market and see exactly what happened from Monday up until the current day. Now, this, of course, as you have seen on the signal that was given on the weekly Forex forecast or the top Forex forecast, this was where the close was on last week Friday. And then as soon as the market opened, the dollar crumbled against the US dollar, Canadian dollar, but it was only for us to take this second liquidity zone and then start going to the upside. Now, let's zoom out again a little bit so that everybody can see what I'm talking about. This right here is the second liquidity zone that we did have. Remember, let's go straight to the signal again. Remember, we did have the second liquidity zone right there, and after that we did mention the second one coming in, and as soon as the second one came in, boom, we went straight to the upside. Now we do have a set target profit, of course, where it is at, and this is the target where it's at 1.4225. 1.4225. This is the target profit, and the signal that was taken, of course, is right here like this. Everybody has already breaking even to the fact whereby even if the non-farm payroll comes negative or even worse than it is expected, nobody loses. We have already breaking even. We take small profit or break even. This is us. This is the mentality that you get when you are in the real account traders community. Now this is a fantastic signal, of course, and with that being said, traders, let's go straight to the charts and see what the charts have in store for us. Now this chart symbolizes one thing: growth, because we do have a new high. As soon as we did hit the second liquidity right here, the market just went from hitting the second liquidity to jumping straight up without any pullback to making a new weekly high. Right now, with that being said, beautiful traders, that is it from me. I hope you enjoyed the analysis and it motivated you enough to join and test out with the little bit of $20 or even more if you want bigger profits or enjoy profits week in and week out. So with that being said, beautiful traders, that is it from me, Vin Boss. Thanks for watching video. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and have a happy trading day.